Final stage, dance.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the second stream of the fourth week of summer sales on aescripts and aeplugins. It's great to have you. My name is Ryan Selvey. I'm here with Lloyd Alvarez, and we're going to be going through some of the sales that are available on aescripts.com, which is a great website for plugins and scripts for not only After Effects, but a dozen of programs like Cinema 4D and DaVinci. There's some Illustrator, there's some Photoshop, there's some Premiere. You can peruse and you can find some really great stuff. But this is the fourth week of sales, so there is a collection of developers that have all gone on sale with their products being percentage off. And if you go to the website of aescripts.com, you can actually go and you can check it out and see who is participating in the sale, which is really cool to see, and see if what you can pick up. Today, we're going to be having both Mama World and Illumi Design on, and they're going to be walking through their plugins, and we'll be talking about those. But since it's also the last stream of the summer of sales, Lloyd and I will also be just talking about any ones that are also on the list and going through any ones that you guys have questions about. We want to know if you're picking up anything on sale yourself, if there's something that you have eyes on, and if you have any questions about the sales as well. But with that in mind, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in Lloyd. So please welcome Lloyd.
Yo, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, thanks. Last day of the streams, at least. We still have 2 more days after this of sales, but last day of the streams. So kind of exciting, kind of bittersweet. What are you doing to celebrate?
Oh man, we're always working. That's
right. But the sale's going great. It's in full steam. You got it all laid out on the website. If you guys go to aescripts.com, it'll automatically bring you to things that are on sale on the homepage, but you can always click the banner at the top of the screen to get more details as to see all the names of everybody who's participating and what's going on. You can see here that as you kind of just scroll down and you look at the different authors, it will give you a little hover of all the things that are offered, and then when you go and you click into it, you can actually just go to their product pages, and then you can explore the ones that are there. So like I said, today we have Mama Design and Illumi Design on, Mama World and Illumi Design, and we're really excited to talk to them. Hello to Annika and Alessandra over on Behance. If you guys are over on YouTube or on Behance, please feel free to say hi in the chat. This is a live stream after all. And we want to hear from you, and we want to hear questions that you may have or comments, things that you're thinking about picking up, and we'd love to help you out. But with that said, I would love to go ahead and bring in Matthias from Mama World and talk a little bit about his products. Hey, welcome to the stream. How's it going?
Hi, good to see you. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
hi,
of
Lloyd.
course.
Hi,
love having you. We've I know this is your not your first rodeo here on the streams. We've actually had you on previous sales streams before, which is cool to see you again. But it's always great to go through and talk about kind of the offerings that you have and the products that you want to create. So welcome to the show and good to have you. I guess the first thing we could do is we could kind of just, you have so many offer, which is always really wonderful to see. And there's literally 32 offerings on the site, which is really cool. But I guess we could just go down and we could break through a few of the ones that you're really excited about and that you want to talk about. And I guess we could probably start with automation blocks.
Yeah, automation blocks. This is our brand new tool, so it's definitely a good opportunity here to talk about this one. It's a huge new thing, and it's really tough to describe it because it has so many functions built in. But probably the best way to start explaining it is to say on aescripts we've got tons of different tools, and I myself developed many of them over the last 10 years. But I always had this vision of what could we do that is a little bit more general than what we did so far? How could we create something where people could create their own extensions very easily without being programmers at all? Automation blocks is doing exactly this. So it gives you a toolkit where you can build your own extensions with custom user interfaces and all kinds of advanced features, but it does not require you to write any code. And also it comes with a ready-to-use built-in library of finished tools already. So you don't need to start with it from scratch, but you can really just browse the existing tools, and maybe this gives you already a ton of functionality, but you can create your own tools with it, and you can customize any of the tools that are already there. So
you made the easy bake oven of developer tools for After Effects, which is really cool.
right. That's a key idea to say. And I think it has two main advantages. First, if you are scripting already, it can make it much faster for you to create new tools. And on the other hand, it also there are so many little tasks where you wouldn't really bother to write a specific tool for it, or you many people just don't know how to use ExtendScript to make a little tool for just the little things they have to solve in this very second, and they would rather solve the job manually instead of writing some automation for it. Or they know how to do it, but without the tool, it would take you half an hour, and with the tool, it just takes 5 minutes. And so you think, okay, now it makes sense to automate this particular task that I'm currently working on instead of doing it manually. So I think these are the two things: customizing stuff, and also like by making scripting more accessible, making it also like useful for these little tasks where you would say, it doesn't really make sense to write my own JSX script for this, but with automation blocks, you can do it so fast that you can just click it in a few minutes and automate stuff that you would otherwise not.
And you know what I think is really awesome about it is that, you know, like Matthias said, we put out tons of tools, and the tools that we put out on aescripts are always tools that somebody created because they were having some kind of roadblock in their workflow, and they created this tool to make their workflow more efficient. But that's the key word, their workflow. What we find a lot is some people go, oh, this tool is almost just perfect, but if it could just have this little change or that little change. And what really makes automation blocks super amazing is that it comes with this huge library of already made tools. But if you need to make a little tweak to one or a little change to one of the tools, it's super easy to do. You do not have to be a programmer. It's intended for every After Effects user to be able to do. And I think once people really harness the power of this, it's going to be, you know, I mean, already the reaction has been amazing since we released it in free beta. So it's a bit of a game changer.
Nice.
I have a nice example for this, actually, because I really think a big problem with existing scripts is they maybe do 90% of what you want, and then for the last 10%, you can do a feature request, hope that the author changes it, but most of the time, of course, this will take time or never happen. And I had such a scenario with my other tool, Mocha Import, where somebody already requested, like, I guess half a year ago or so, could you add support for the kingpin tracker of Red Giant? And now this guy came back to me again and asked, now you've got automation blocks, maybe you can make the tools work together or something to add support for this particular corner pin effect that I want to use with your tracking tool. And then I thought about it, and in about 30 minutes, I wrote a little tool that replaces any CC power pin effect in your project by the kingpin effect. And now you can use this in combination with Mocha Import to like first create the default rigs, whatever tracking rigs you want to create with Mocha Import, and then replace the corner pin effect by your favorite one. And now you've got a new feature essentially built in 30 minutes.
Amazing.
And this is also a good example for, I don't just want to give you the tool, but I also want to assist you in developing new example tools for it. So this means if you've got some idea of something could be automated, and it might be possible to do this with automation blocks, but you're not really sure how, look at the documentation of automation blocks, what we write there about the community. And there we point you to the Adobe forum, so you can just ask questions about, could this or that be maybe automated with automation blocks? And then I can help you. And if it's easy to do, I can write such a script also for you. And the idea is we collect those scripts and share them such that the collection of ready-to-use tools in automation blocks grows every week.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's such a big takeaway is always the community aspect and the idea. I know we were talking about K-Bar yesterday or on Monday, and just talking about how small knit and Tide, the motion community is, and it's really cool to be able to see, you know, if someone's working with something, that someone can reach out and say, hey, I'm having trouble with this, and seeing where it goes. But I do want to make sure that we do play the promo for it, because the Automation Blocks promo is very cool, and I know we've been talking up a lot, so let's check it out.
We are creatives. We explore, we play. While this is fun, it can also be messy and slow. Imagine if you could fix this by automating using customized tools. Automation Blocks is an infinite collection of pre-made, one-click tools for any task. If you need to tweak it to your needs, no problem. For example, we can customize the keyboard shortcut for creating a new null to also parent all selected layers to that null, or something big, like creating many versions of a composition driven by a spreadsheet. Every job is different, and the blocks that our tools are based on can always be adjusted as needed by you or the community. We share, improve, and customize them with the community, similar to how we've done with expressions for years. Don't just create videos, create solutions. Automation Blocks. Automation for creatives.
And I really like that. Don't just create videos, create solutions, because obviously every product's different, but also it is all about your workflow, and it's about making it easiest for you. And I think that a tool like this makes things way more accessible for development, for people like me who don't know a lick of code, but would also like to be able to control things a little bit more. So very cool to see. But only one of many of your offerings. I know that also you have created, like I said, 32 different offerings that you have, from squash and stretch to even like lip sync. But the next one that I want to kind of queue up would be Easy Bounce Pro.
Bouncing animations really bring your motion to life, but getting them right is just so much work. So take a look at this. You start as you always do, by roughly keyframing the motion path you'd like. And of course, the result looks horrible. Timing is completely wrong. And now you need to spend a lot of time fixing this, right? But what if you could just click a button?
That's great. And that's another one of the ones where it's like, it can be something simple, but it's just something to make it work for you and make it easy. Because it's one of those things we were talking about also earlier in the week. You need to have it be convincing to the 100%, because if it's just slightly off and you're suddenly aware that something is not bouncing the way that it's supposed to be bouncing, the viewer doesn't even have to be a motion designer to look at it and be like, wait, something's wrong. Something's not right. And this takes all that stress out of it with just a click of a button, which is really nice.
Yeah. What I really love about Easy Bounce is the way the user interacts with the tool. So I think if you ask a typical motion designer, what do you think about physics simulation? Do you like working with physics simulations? It's like, oh, okay, it's kind of a complex beast. You probably have to set up some physics parameters. If you want something to bounce, probably you need some collider layers where it can bounce off, and set all of this up. And then you click a run button to run a simulation, and then you get some result, and then maybe this result is not exactly what you want. You feel like, could this element bounce a little bit higher or something? Okay, then you have to change the entire physics parameters to make all of this happen. And with Easy Bounce, I really had in mind, how can I change such a system such that it can be used in a way a designer wants it to work? And I felt like a designer just wants to give a motion path, sketch it roughly, and say, this is the motion path I want, just make it look right. And so this is exactly how Easy Bounce works. You just give it a motion path, you click one button, and it makes it look great. And if you later decide, like, I want to change it a little bit here and there, this one bounce should be a bit higher, you just literally go in there, change the keyframe. It looks horrible again because you messed up the timing, and you just click the button again, and it fixes it for you. And this is just the way you want to work, right? To do not explain a complex tool what you want, but just keyframe it roughly and just take care of the timing details for me effectively.
Yeah, that modification is also so important, because to your point, you edit it and it messes everything up. So it's really nice to just be able to go in and change what you need to change and click, and then it does all the work for you, which is a huge deal.
Yeah.
And then speaking of ones that I personally have definitely worked with, and has worked for me, is the pins and boxes. So this is one that I had asked from a client. and I really needed to move something around, but I didn't know how I'd kind of work with like maybe the puppet tool or with nulls, and I fell across yours, and it really saved me from being in a pinch. Such a lifesaver for bottom thirds. I will say that right now. Like anything that you have, if you're doing a lyric video, if you're doing credits, if you're doing just information on the bottom of the screen, this is something that lets you kind of create a really cool system that you can apply to many different scenes, and then it's not the headache of having to go through and adjust boxes and designs. You can go through and it just updates in real time, which is really neat.
I mean, especially in today's world of like, you know, Instagram and YouTube, and everybody's got, you know, Twitter, everybody's got a different aspect ratio. And so you want to be able to design once and just make it change to, you know, like this whole like landscape versus portrait thing. Yeah, man, if this was around back in the day, right?
Yeah, right.
The kids have it so easy now.
Reverb Mike is quoting Volvo and saying, "We're boxy, but we're safe." Yeah, no, the Volvo After Effects.
What I really like about pins and boxes is really the flexibility of the concept. I think there are many little helpers around for dynamic layouts, like, for example, creating a single box around a single text, such that the box changes with the text when you edit the text. But they're all kind of limited. And I really wanted to come up with a concept that is very easy to use, but at the same time, very, very powerful, very flexible. And so I came up with this idea to have these pins at the boundaries of your layer, which means you can parent anything to the boundary of a layer, which is super cool if you've got one text and you want another text below it, but at the right corner, for example, then you can just parent it to this corner pin, to the pin of this corner. But at the same time, you can use these pins to create boxes around anything. So you can just select an arbitrary set of pins and say, do a box around this, no matter if it's a single layer or it's 3 layers or whatever. It has any parenting structure inside, it really doesn't matter. And so is this separation of concerns to have these pins for parenting and have boxes around collections of pins. You can really create pretty complex rigs without needing any understanding of the expressions that are going on in the background.
Yeah, and that multiple layers thing is a lifesaver. I think that's one of the strongest points, is just the idea that it's not only just effective and responsive to one layer, but you can move things around and it'll actually adapt. And to Lloyd's point, yeah, just working with different aspect ratios, different cropping from vertical to horizontal, it can really save you from being in a pinch.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, we have 32. We don't have time to go through all 32. I mean, there's ones like beat edit, which can help you actually edit to the beat of things, because that's way harder than you would think it would be, and also way more time consuming than you could think it could be. You know, you have your tracker masks ones, you have copy mask, key tweak, quick importer. Now, I wanted to know, is there anything that you want to share on your screen that you if we've got enough time, I can either give you a very quick overview or a first impression about what working with automation blocks could look like, or we could also take a look at easy bounds, for example. I
think automation blocks. This is the game changer here, I think.
Okay, let's take a look at this. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, cool. So it's difficult to demo this in 5 minutes because it has so many functions. But what you see with automation blocks when you start it up is here a big collection of these ready-to-use tool sets that you want to use with it. And one cool thing is that you can also bind these to keyboard shortcuts. Yeah. So if you use some tools very frequently, just bind them to keyboard shortcuts. And one that I have added to a keyboard shortcut, for example, is, let me just select these two layers here. And now for me, it's Control Option Command 9, which is close to F9 for easy ease, like the other keyboard shortcut I use all the time. And it opens for me a fade in out dialog, where I just say, I want to fade in and out the selected layers. I can enter a duration here, and I can say it should add a subtle scale, and it should add a range selector to do a directional fade. And then with just one click, I now animated these layers here in and out, and it just looks much better than if I would have just added to opacity keyframes, because it has this subtle scale, and you can see it's directional, right? It goes here, here it fades in later, and so on. And this is just a thing I need so often, and I've just bound it to a keyboard shortcut. If I don't like this, let me undo it. I also have another one configured, which is Shift Command 9. And this gives me the elastic in. So if you do a lot of explainer videos, maybe this is the kind of animation that you want all the time, to just let things animate here elastically in. And now you've got it on a keyboard shortcut, right? But this is just like saving keyframe combinations or so that you use all the time. It's just one of a ton of different things you could do. So let me just quickly go here to another example. And this is pre-composing. So let's say you've got here different texts, and you want to maybe pre-compose them. What is this? I've got here.
And one thing I will say is, I know that you can go in and you can actually just edit your keyboard shortcuts within After Effects themselves, but this is kind of a little bit closer to if you're ever in Photoshop and you're dealing with scripts and you can do like more complex tasks of like a series of things, then you can go in and like teach it to kind of run on its own. So it takes that idea that's already there and adds upon it to even more like dramatic, so you can get even more done with just one click, which is cool. Or one.
Right. So let me just I think I messed my sample comps here somehow. But let's say we want to, let's stay with this example. Let's say we want to pre-compose these two layers here in a pre-comp, but the pre-comp should have the size of these layers and not the full size of the comp, right? So I just search here in my tools for pre-comp, and you can see I've got many pre-composing tools here, and one of them is pre-compose and crop into separate pre-comps, which would give every layer its own pre-comp, or I want to pre-compose them in a single comp. And if I run this, then it gives me again a dialog here, and I can crop to the source rect, and I can give it some margin. Let's say it's 20 pixels around this, give it a name, and okay. And now I've got a pre-comp exactly around the content that I selected, right? Here, exactly this area. So these little things that help you tremendously when you want to just save time. These little things where you otherwise start cropping your comps manually. I think super helpful. And
it almost reminds me of like Game Shark for back like the N64, where you'd go and then you'd have this menu of different options that you could then kind of create your own recipe for of messing with the video game. Except for this, it's like your own little menu of just things that you can really adjust and create for your workflow, which is really cool.
Right. And it's also like if you feel like later, okay, maybe this layer, I don't want to have it in the pre-comp anymore. I want to move it to the parent comp. Let's just search it for parent. Oh, copy or move to parent comps is what I want, right? So I just select it, run the tool, ask delete original. Okay, I just want to get rid of it here and only want to have it in the main comp. Here I can choose a parent comp to which I want to move it in case it's used in several parent compositions, and bam, it's taken out of here. So, and this is just
that's amazing.
Right now it's back here, and this is just one of so many little examples. And if you feel like, could it be done with automation blocks and I don't find it in the list, post in our forums. So you can go here on the help. This is the help page of the actual tool. If I click here, I get an online help of the tool that I've got currently open. It opened here on a different window for me. And if you instead click this help button, it will bring you to the main page of the documentation, which is this one here. And here you find this join the community section, where I really encourage you, go to the forums, ask if you want to create something with automation blocks and don't know how, just post in the forum, and I will do my best to support you to create these automation tools.
That's fantastic. It takes a village, and it's cool to see everyone's different take on like a problem when you go to the community.
Yeah. Let me show you just one more little detail. If you've got 2 minutes left, maybe to show you that it can do so much more than just keyframing. Let's say I want to decide now, well, around this layer, I want to have some highlight. I want to somehow give this more attention to this text or so. I remember that I had something like a rig with a circle. So I just search for circle and say, oh, here's a highlight shaped circle. And I can run it with the layer selected. And now it creates here this shape animation for me right around this layer. So it detects where the position of the layer is. It checks where my current time is, and then inserts this shape layer animation. And the cool thing is, you might not really be interested in using exactly this animation, but maybe you have a ton of other shape layer animations that are your like default elements that you're using all the time. And now if you click here on the help page for this one, it brings you to a page, to a course, actually, programming a highlight tool, where I created all these kinds of shape highlights. And they are all created with a code that you can find here. And you don't even need, you see, this is the full code of making this happen, like checking all the selected layers, checking how big they are, taking the design elements, scaling it to the right size to fit to the layers you have selected, and applying or creating these shape layers. And if you want to use this with your own custom shape layers, just create an effects preset, and in the code, insert the preset here, set here the duration of the animation that you want to have. And if you feel your animation should be bigger or smaller, so the element should be scaled differently, set here the scale factor. And then you've got your own custom tool with your custom animations that you are using all the time, because yours might not be this circle shape, your favorite animation. And if you want to know more details, then you've got here a detailed tutorial where I explain this code really from start to finish. So if you want to dive deeper, and it has some learning curve, I don't want to hide this. Automation blocks is so powerful. You can see this is not much code, but it's more than nothing. So you have to invest some time to learn it, but we've got tons of tutorials here in the documentation. And then you can really create tools that support exactly your workflow. So if you feel like I'm always doing this or that, and it always takes me a minute or two to set up, like import a particular texture and that you're using all the time, import it in your project, insert it as a new layer, and set a specific blending mode for it or so. All these kinds of things. Just create a tool for it, and either link it to a K-bar button or link it to a keyboard shortcut, whatever you want, or search it here in your library and execute it super fast.
Yeah, got that K-bar integration, which was also on sale this week. So
yeah. So if you want to use any of these tools with K-bar, just click this button to export it to a JSX file, and then you can. JSX scripts can be executed by K-bar, can be executed by quick menu. So you have integration into these tools very easily too.
And I should note that you used the word code, but if you saw, it's called blocks, and it really uses a block sort of approach, so that you just put one block into another block. And so again, you don't have to be a programmer. It is just a logical thing, and that you're looking through it. And then if you go, oh, look here, it's actually setting the scale to 50%, but I just need it to 25%, then you can just change that to 25%, and then you're done. There's no really having to understand anything else.
It's kind of like building a computer or building Legos, where it's just kind of like you have the pieces and you can switch them all out. Except it ends in a wonderful tool.
It's if you want, I can show you a little bit more about how the block code is working, so to speak. But it depends on the time. I think we are.
I think we're gonna need to move on, unfortunately. But but I think also the big takeaway of automation blocks is that it's as simple to use as you want, or as deep and complex as you want it to be. And that was one thing that when Matthias first approached me about this, I said, this is so powerful. We don't want to alienate people who don't need to go into this much power. But what's amazing is that if you do want to go down the deep dive, it's there for you, but you don't have to do that. It's really what's really so cool about this.
And I think it really respects your workflows, that not everybody's workflow is different, right?
Exactly,
so I've got here, for example, one little tool, create parent null. That is just, you select a bunch of layers, it creates a new null and parents them all to this new layer if they are not yet parented. And then you can just go into the code and it's here like this. And then you've got all these different details. So maybe everybody wants this tool to behave a little bit different. So maybe you want to have a different name for this layer. And then you can just go here and say, okay, this is a block, create new null layer as blah, blah, blah in the active composition, layer name. Then it's obvious, okay, if you want a different layer, the default name for your parent nulls, you can just enter it here. Or if you say, I always want to have this particular label color, then after this, you can just plug in a block that sets the label color of the null or so. So it really, it's like you get some default tools, but if you want to customize them, you can change every little detail.
Amazing. Fantastic. And then one quick question from Ed real quick. He says, do you have to have the plugin active to use the keyboard shortcuts, like to have to drag it into each comp or layer one time or many times?
No, you don't. This is what is happening in the background. So if you want to use a tool with a keyboard shortcut, what you do is you save a copy of it in this particular folder here of the library, which is with menu entry. And what this is doing, it is creating a JSX script from it. It is exporting in the background your tool as a JSX script and putting it in the right folder such that you find it in the menu here. So I've got here, for example, an add keyframes to selected props from automation blocks, or so different here, the elastic in that I've shown before, or the better fade tool, they all show up here. And I've then bound those menu commands to keyboard shortcuts. So it's like, just save your tool in in this folder, then it will show up here in the menu. And then you can just go in and go here to keyboard shortcuts. And if you look here, for example, then for the tool name, better fade tool, you can see it is listed as this menu command. And then you can assign a keyboard shortcut to it. And since it's just an JSX file, it means you don't have automation blocks does not need to be open. It needs to be installed. Yeah. At startup of After Effects, this initializes some libraries that are also required by these JSX scripts. This is also an important little detail. If you feel like, wow, I can export this to JSX and share those JSX scripts with colleagues, you can do that, but they need automation blocks to be installed. Otherwise, the JSX files won't work. But you don't need the panel to be open. So if automation blocks is installed on your machine and you launch After Effects, you can run the JSX scripts or the keyboard shortcuts immediately, and they will work without the panel being open.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate you diving in and walking us through everything. Like I said, you guys have such a huge offering on the site, so make sure to check that out. And yeah, I'm really excited to see what people create with automation blocks, both for tools and for the products that they create. And I'm also really excited to see what everybody else makes with the other tools that you have. So thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate you.
Thanks,
and hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. All right. So next up, like I was saying, we have Illumidesign. I do want to say hi to a few people in the chat from Tim and Ada and Ed, Adam. Thank you guys all for being here. Ed raised a great question while we were talking to Matthias. So if you guys have questions for the developers while we're working with them, with Oliver coming up, please, by all means, throw them in the chat. That way we can get you the answers that you want, and then you can have a good idea whether or not you want to try it out. So with that said, I would love to bring in Oliver from Illumidesign, and I'm going to go ahead and play his trailer for Platoon 2, and then we'll bring him on in.
Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on a way. Yeah. You know I be on the way. I'ma get it, you know I be on the way. Yeah, it's all hard, ain't no fear here. You ain't giving this to all, you steer clear. Never beat, I've been down and I reappear. You got some money on the line, you better put it here. Rolling in and doing that work. Check priorities, I'm doing that first. Them checks big and I'm sure that hurts, but it's checkmate, we ain't selling short, know the work. Ain't nowhere to hide. You ain't gotta see me come and keep me on your mind, cause I be on the way. Yeah. Yeah. You know I be on the way. Man on a mission, I'ma get it. You know I be on the way. Yeah, man, we coming for them bags. If they said I couldn't have, get the chain. I got a vision for the things you ain't believe. And here's the motto: hard work is over.
All right, how's it going? Welcome, Oliver.
Hi, Ryan. Hi, Lloyd. I'm fine.
How's it going? Good.
Everything's fine.
Yeah, no, so I'm excited to walk through a few of your offerings. I know that we just checked out Platoon right there. What makes a difference from just displacement that's already in After Effects natively?
Actually, before you answer that, can you lower your volume a little bit, Ollie? Because we're hearing the feedback.
Like this?
Better. Thank you so much.
Better?
Yeah.
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So, yeah. First of all, thank you for being on the show. What is the difference? So, Platoon is on the market, I think, since 4 years, and we started as a texturizing plugin, and this is also, or it's always the main part, meaning texturizing your footage. And during this process, we come up with some additional effects. And the biggest step in Platoon version 2.0 is the displacement engine, which gives you, I think, a ton of new possibilities to displace footage to get easy, quick effects. And we come up with this because we use Trapcodes Particular, and this tool gets so complex in the meantime that we thought we need some easy to do animations to achieve some kind of particle simulation effects by displacing footage in 2D or 2.5D space. So that's I think the biggest new feature in Platoon, but it is a texturizing plugin. So we had a beta testing period, and we got some users coming up saying, hey, why we can't texturize shape layers, and the texture is stuck to it like to any Illustrator graphic we put in. And so we thought, okay, maybe we should improve this too. So in the new version, we have also new improvements under the hood for the texturizing thing, because I think this is a huge time saver in your creative process if you just can apply.
And it's great that it's kind of grown and adapted with the community and feedback from obviously your beta testing. I see that Mike is in the chat saying that he needs to watch more tutorials because he hasn't made anything as cool as the promo with Platoon, but there's a lot of capabilities with it. I love the fact that it has the 30 made presets that you can also use. And yeah, no, it's really interesting to kind of see how long and how far people can take.
Yeah, right. So that's also we tried to do the presets in version 1, I think, and we had a lot of issues with the presets because of the internal folder structure of each machine. And with version 2, we have 30 presets. They're a very good start for any kind of artwork you like to do, even if it's displacement or texture swapping or glitching or texturizing. So this is always a good start point, and you only have to tweak a few settings and you're done. So for me, in my workflow, my daily workflow, I use Platoon nearly in every project, and that's for me a huge time saver. And yeah, we have
well, I also see that you have a bit of like a demo prepared. So I see that your screen is up. Is that for Platoon or is that for Transition Master?
Yeah, I have a few things to Platoon, just to let the people who didn't know Platoon, to show them how easy it is to do the basic thing, which is texturizing. So I just have a batch. It's from FreePic, so nothing special. I have my layers, so it's an Illustrator file. And for example, let's take the ball and let's apply Platoon to this layer. So it starts with a checker pattern. And maybe to give some detail, I go here and have my whole library inside of my After Effects, so I don't have to import maps or something. I have it here. And let's say we go to the grunge one, take this one here. applies this, and I set my blend method to, let's say, overlay. And now you see this little details here in the shadow and in the darken areas. So it's simply just a little bit of detail to this graphic.
And it's all within the same layer too.
Go,
you don't have to use mattes or alpha channels or anything. It's just all there within.
Yeah,
the
that's the beauty of it. It's just a one-click thing, which is amazing.
Right, you got every blend method here. So you can also, you have two blend methods. You have one blend method which is for the texture, and you have the second one to play with alpha channel of maps to get some alpha details here. So you can do whatever you like. And the same is, you can do this for, let's say, the blue one. And let's say we give them some 80s style halftone patterns. So it's simply applied to that. And again, we change the blend method here to, let's say, multiply, and you got these little details here. You can, of course, as it should be, you can scale this, you can rotate this, you can keyframe this, you can do whatever you like, and it sticks to the graphics. So if you move this graphic, you see the texture is sticking 100% perfect to the texture. So it's like in any 3D program, you apply a texture and it sticks to it, and you're ready to go. So you can do a lot of details here. One thing which comes with the texture thing is here we have this opportunity to say texture swap. So that means you have your texture library here, which is in your operating system. So here you have your folder structure of Platoon. You can import and drag any file into your footage. You can build your own folders. So you have your all of your maps organized always inside After Effects. And if you use texture swap, you have this folder with all the halftone patterns in. You choose that. You say texture swap active. You can play with the frequency and the length. And then you see here in this area, if you play through this, it swaps the texture over and over.
And a lot of those things are all like keyframeable. I can see. So you can go in and you can kind of mess with different scales, rotations, and kind of like when you're bringing in, you're adjusting those textures. You can also go and you can animate those as well.
Right, you can use textures, you can use layers, you can use movie clips, whatever. So you can use anything, you can pipe anything to your footage, yeah, you can keyframe nearly anything. And this is a time saver. This texture swap effect, I think, I'm not 100% sure, but it remembers me to the Arcane intro of Imagine Dragons. With this texture swapping around could be possible. It's done with Platoon. I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like this. And yeah, so this is the basic function, texturizing your footage, which is a huge time saver, of course, for me. And then let's have a look at the preset stack, which is here on the right side. You see all of these presets. And let's say you have a simple badge as a PNG. Just pre-compose this. And let's say you drag in a dissolve effect. And this is not a hell of a machine. We have only a 1080 NVIDIA graphics card in. So if I play this through in full resolution, you see how fast it is. And you simply dissolve this footage by a single click. Everything is set up. So let's play this back in real time. So here we go. So it's very fast in rendering. And if you like to change the behavior of this, you simply can change the map, which is, this effect is driven by a map. So change it to this one, and you got a complete new look and feel of your distortion, of your displacement. So awesome. This is how easy you can change the presets and get different results. Which is
all that information.
Again, huge time saver.
And to answer Mike's question about need to watch more tutorials, I think he just showed you don't need a tutorial. You just put on a preset and then you tweak.
Yeah, you don't need a tutorial, but we have, of course, we have a tutorial channel. We have a lot of tutorials on our side and also linked on the aescripts product side. So it's a getting started. This plugin ships with a complete video tutorial explaining each single setting, each single parameter you can manipulate, And we have also a preset a video guide where we explain each preset, what you can tweak, what is useful to tweak, and what is out of the box, simply an effect to dissolve a footage, for example.
And I also think a lot of fun of this one in particular is a lot of sandbox and funning and just tinkering and kind of seeing where things land as well, even before you hit any of the sort of tutorials as well. Just being able to go in and you can see that you can really mess around and kind of just create different things with maybe using one of the templates as a base, but then you can also kind of go from there. Ted in YouTube is saying that it's very cool after he saw that you took it and just had to go right off the screen right away. But I also know you were showing me a few days ago that you were able to kind of rebuild out the HBO with just using the textures, right?
Oh yes, there's a tutorial on our channel. So this is the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
And this is we simply rebuilt this with 100% Platoon. Also, the TV grain is done with Platoon, and this is because of our new. Let me get rid of this effect. This is one thing which is new in Platoon version 2.0, and it's a huge, big thing. So you can drive a texture, but you can also drive a turbulence. And in this turbulence engine, which is completely new, redesigned, we have this fields turbulence. And if you scale this, then you see that that fields, and they're pre-animated. So this is like some kind of turbulence you don't have in natural, in the normal turbulence settings of After Effects. And this fields is a very cool thing. And if you crank this up and manipulate that, you see you can get some kind of camouflage looks and even some little TV noise distortion. And yeah, this is a cool turbulence modifier. The same is for the web one, which is this here. And let me bring this a bit up so you can see that. So there are so many different algorithms in the turbulence engine. They are not available in the built-in turbulence from After Effects. And it's be handy to drive any kind of mapping or distortion or displacement. So you can drive either turbulence or the file or the layer to manipulate your footage.
Yeah, you get a lot of bang for your buck with Platoon too.
Right. Right.
And Mike is comparing it to Particular again, and I think Oliver mentioned this earlier, but the intention with Platoon is to try and get these effects that you would have normally used the particle generator for, but make it so much simpler and easier to not just create it initially, but to tweak it.
And then Ed's asking, says, do you have any animated textures? A drag and drop for pre-animated textures would be cool. And so kind of with the new update with the 2, you kind of do have at least something that you could go and then you can have added to it and you can continue to animate it. But is that something that you could see? I think also, could you turn your volume down a little bit more again?
Sorry?
Turn your volume down a little bit. It's getting the echo again.
Okay, maybe I use my headsets. Otherwise, I can't hear you guys. Hold on. Sorry. So better.
There we go.
There we go. And so yeah, Ed's just asking about animated textures.
Yeah, we're still getting it. The feedback. It's okay. Just let the feedback go. Just answer that.
So just one step backward. But as you said, Lloyd, if it comes to complex particle animations, then of course I would use Stardust. This is only 2.5D, so it's a fake particle effect. It's just a displacement in 2.5D. So if you do really complex particle animations, the Platoon is definitely not the right the tool. So I would prefer Stardust in any way. But if you just want to do some kind of dissolve effect or shadow effect, whatever, I think it's quite super handy. And what I have also, just to showcase you, I have here aescripts. It's just a simple text layer. First of all, let me show you this one. We have here one, it's called Ghost Fog. You just drag this onto the footage. And let me go here to half resolution, so it's a bit faster to render. This is some kind of ghost foggy shimmer over this badge, which is I think it looks quite cool. It's all built in. We have a glow effect on it, and the rest is driven by Platoon. And it's quite handy for whatever you like. It could be some highlighting, some reflections, simulating whatever. This is also quite handy, and it's 100% Platoon. And now I come to my text layer. So I have a simple text layer, and let's have this space text on it. And if you play through, you see you will distort the text like in the intro from Supernatural. So this is quite cool.
Whoa.
I think
that's so sick.
And if you do this and duplicate your text layer without the effect, so that the Platoon effect can happen behind this thing, it looks like this. And I think if you type Supernatural, so you have the intros from the 80s, I think. Something like that. So it's a built-in preset.
That's an album cover right there. Look at that.
Right.
Right.
When's the first album dropping,
cool,
Lloyd?
It's easy. It's just drag and drops, and that's one thing. And we have another thing. It's called let's say robotext. So if you play it through, it looks like this. So you get some kind of robotic thing, and here we go.
Almost feels very Star Wars.
So everything is driven by a displacement and by some turbulent field layers. So that's what we did with the text layers. And what is also cool, let me delete this and simply go here and type, let's say, BA. I don't know why. I like B and A. So let's get this up. And if you use this waterfall preset and you drag this onto, you will have looks like simulated waterfall. And you can of course speed up this, and you can of course go into the settings and play with the speed of this falling thing here, and of course with everything. And the cool thing is it's text, so you can type whatever text you like, and you have some kind of simulated waterfall. And if you do a bit with the directional blur, you can get some very cool effects here.
And since that with text too, you could even like key in like typewriter tool or something like that, or you could have it grow and come back, and then you could also always duplicate having a type on top so that it looks like it's like falling from it. So I think using it as an additive as on top of everything else, I think is really cool.
Right. Ryan, you sent me a few questions before, and one question was, where did you find your plugin in the real world? So I think it's hard to find out who is using this and who did what with our plugin. As I said before, it could be possible that Netflix Arcane used this, but I'm a huge fan of The Prodigy, and Liam did a movie for Netflix. It's called Do or Die, and I just watched that. Choose or Die, sorry. And I just watched that, and this is the title sequence, and this is 100%. I could swear it's 100% the distortion of Platoon, and nice. I don't have the whole thing. I just tried to screen record the titles from Netflix, but they didn't allow me that. So I only have this little sequence. But if you go to Platoon, I simply took this bike here and tinted it green. And if you do a simple displacement by using turbulence, and you play with the turbulence settings, you see this is 100% done with all this pixelation and all this. I could say this is done with Platoon.
Very likely, yeah. Project. That's very cool.
Yeah. So
It's exciting to see. And then, so I guess one last thing I guess we could ask would just be like, what is one part of your plugin that you feel like you really aced or that you're really proud of? Like, what brings you joy out of the final piece that you have?
I'm really proud of the texturizing thing, because this is really huge time saver, and the connection of using a black and white image to distort in any way you think your footage, so that you have the possibility to texturize, and additional to that, using black and white images to achieve a really great amount of displacement distortion, if it's glitch or displacement or whatever. So the combination of these two things, I think this is the biggest goal I had. The first time I thought over this plugin was 6 years ago, and it was bringing texturizing on it and bringing Photoshop patterns into After Effects, because there are so many beautiful Photoshop patterns and you can't use them as a pattern in After Effects. And so this and the displacement tool, I think this is the biggest one, the biggest thing I'm proud of, that we have it here.
Yeah, 6 years. I mean, that's quite the journey, but I feel like all the hard work is paid off to get you to where you are now with it. And it's cool to see just the extent of ways that it can be used.
Right.
So that does put us about at the top of the hour, though. So I do want to thank you for coming on. Also, be sure to guys go check out. I'm gonna have you leave with a trailer to Transition Master. But thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Ali.
Thank you. We have 1 minute left.
Yeah, we can do 1 minute. Sure.
Yeah, I just want to say to you guys and to the audience, Transition Master, we are short before the release of the new version, because we had some issues with the Apple M1 chip and with the OFX plugin, but we have already the new version here for you. Everything is left as it is before, so you can do your own transitions. You can build your own transitions. You can save them as presets. You can use them in Premiere and After Effects, whatever. We have one thing which is completely new in Transition Master, which is, I think, also a really cool feature. We have not the internal generator, but we have external files, and that gives you, again, the possibility over black and white images like this to drive your transition. So that means if you do so, you will see you can drive this over your texture, and you can drive the transition over black and white textures. So if you change the texture, you will see the behavior of the transition will change, and this gives you endless possibilities, because you can put any grayscale image into this remap file and drive your transition even by a black and white image. So this is the new part, and I think this is also, again, a very cool feature. And in Basic, it's simply a tool to build your own transitions, to have them in Premiere Pro and in DaVinci Resolve, drag and drop, and you're ready to go.
Awesome.
And we will have a new pricing. It's not Talk to Lloyd, but we will have a new pricing. We will separate the Adobe thing from the OFX. So we will have two plugins. One is OFX, one is Adobe, and we will have in the future a light version, which is I think for free.
Cool.
Perfect. And I got lots of love in the chat from Mike and Angel. He's saying that it's like a gradient transition, but blown out to the max. And then also saying that he's going to need to get some funds so that he can buy it before he gets paid on Monday. So, but great. Thank you again for coming on. Really great having you. I'm going to say goodbye with you with some of the Transition Master in action with the promo. And we look forward to seeing everything else that comes in the future.
Thank you for being in the show. And thank you.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't need recognition. I'm on a mission. I'm paying dues. I'm in in position, I'm staying up, it's getting late. You're doing good, I'm doing great. Recognition, I'm on a mission. I'm paying dues, I'm in position. I'm staying up, it's getting late. You're doing good, I'm doing great. I know this life is right for me. I know the future's bright for me. I know my teachers lied to me. I do it for the ones that came before and nearly died for me. Recognition, I'm on a mission. I'm paying dues, I'm in position. I'm staying up, it's getting late. You're doing good, I'm doing great.
Hey,
Very cool. And all the control too. And so, yeah, we are at the top of the hour, so we do want to wrap it. But I do want to just take one more minute to go over something that's really cool. We kind of had it featured on Monday, but also it's in the works. And I know it's something that Lloyd has been hard at work with the team with. And it is Paint Link plugin.
Have you ever wished there was an easier pipeline between After Effects and Photoshop? Well, now there is. Introducing PaintLink, a new plugin from aescripts and aeplugins. Press Add Keyframe to create a link and open a new PSD in Photoshop. You can now paint on this PSD using your favorite Photoshop brushes, and see the results rendered live back in After Effects. Each keyframe is a different PSD, which will open automatically in Photoshop when you go to its frame. PaintLink shows your current After Effects background and onion skin in Photoshop to make animation easy. There's no rendering, exporting, or even file saving. Just play it back in After Effects and it's good to go.
Too cool. So like I said, it's still in development, so it's not.
No. It's about to be released. We're done. It's just we're just doing the little final tweaks before we release. And the promo focuses on frame by frame workflow, but since we basically released the product page on Monday, and we've gotten incredible reaction. It's been unbelievable, actually. And one of the big things that people are saying is that it's just so much more than just a paint link. It really is a dynamic link between After Effects and Photoshop. So if you just need to, pop open one frame in Photoshop, before you had to like add it to your render queue, render that frame, open it in Photoshop, save it back to file, open it back in After Effects. Such a tedious workflow that you probably ended up not doing it. Now you just literally put Paint Link on. You say, I want to look at this frame. You open it up in Photoshop. You might be like fixing a blemish on somebody's face, or I don't know. There's got to be a million reasons why you would need to do that. And as the end of the promo said, there's no rendering, there's no saving, there's no importing, there's no exporting. It's just boom. You set a keyframe in After Effects and it opens up in Photoshop. You can paint on it and you can go back into After Effects and it's there. It's that simple. So it's really
interesting to see how fast it also works. Like it works just as fast as you. Like it just makes it so that when you're doing what you need to do, you don't have to wait on anything else. You can just go back and forth and have it really just not slow you down and make you get your stuff done faster, which is really nice.
Yeah, exactly. So pretty awesome.
So great. So make sure you guys go ahead.
So look out for it. If you go to the product page now, if you go to Paint Link, you can sign up to be notified. I think there's a little that link there.
And it's right around the corner, so you don't have to wait long either. So make sure you check it out. I went ahead, I put the link in both of the chats. But that is a wrap for us for this week of summer sales streams. The sales go on for 2 more days, which is exciting. So make sure you go check it out. And then also it puts a wrap on the streams for summer sales for the summer, which is sad. But also
Mike mentioned this in the comments, but the unofficial secret is that if you don't make that Friday night deadline, the sale will unofficially extend into Saturday. So please, don't feel like you missed it. Go get it. It'll be around through the weekend. So, but definitely before Monday. So by Monday, it'll definitely be gone. So.
That'll be long gone by then. So make sure you check it out. Take some time, flip through some of the other things that are on sale. Got a lot of products, lots to go through, and even stuff that's not on sale. It's great prices. Just check out aescripts because really cool stuff. I have made a collection of different things over the years, and it makes my workflow so much faster, and I get to do so many cooler things that you send off to clients, and they're blown away. So make sure you check it out. we're going to leave you with the wonderful animation from the Duo team for the promotion of the 4th week. And then we hope to see you around the internet. So thank you so much, Lloyd. And we'll talk to you all soon. Bye.
Final stage. Dance.